Hi everyone, a very good morning to all of you. Today is 9th of May and in this particular session, we are going to discuss the entire Hindu of 8th and 9th of May. Let's get started with the session. And guys, yesterday as we have released the entire world mapping video, so today we shifted the Hindu newspaper. Okay, so guys, every day you will get the Hindu newspaper here, and also you can download the PDF notes of this particular session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram is given in description box. You can visit Telegram and from there you can download the PDF notes of this particular session. Now, let's get started. And first of all, before starting, let's take quotation which can be helpful for our GS papers as well as essay. So today we are going to take quotation from Kofi Annan. So today we are going to take the quotation from Kofi Annan. So Mr. Kofi Annan, former UN Secretary General, says that literacy is the bridge from misery to hope. Literacy is a bridge from misery to hope. So literacy, education empowers the citizens. It empowers citizens politically, it empowers citizens economically as well as socially. So therefore, education is a short route. Education is a short way in improving the quality of life that is driven from, which is driven from misery towards the quality, towards the life of a hope. Now, this particular quotation can be used in GS paper number 2, articles or questions related to education. So, this is about it. And now let's start with first article for the today. Fine. So, first article that we have here is about the West Nile fever. West Nile fever. So, here we have this particular article that Kerala is on high alert as a man has died of West Nile fever. Now, this particular article we are going to see with respect to prelims examination as well as GS paper number 2 issues related to health. Under this also will take this particular article. Now, basically guys, when we talk about the West Nile fever, so what this West Nile fever is, it is a mosquito borne viral infection. Now we already, you might be knowing about Aedes aegypti mosquito, which is responsible for transmission of many deadly viral infections. For example, it is responsible in transmission of dengue, chikungunya, even Zika virus. It is transmitted by Aedes aegypti virus. And in fact, question has been asked in the UPSC examination with respect to this particular dimension. Now, when we talk about this, that is the West Nile fever, it is transmitted by mosquito but not Aedes aegypti. It is transmitted by Sulex species of mosquito. Sulex mosquito. Now, basically this West Nile fever, it is transmitted by the West Nile virus. West Nile fever virus. West Nile fever virus. And this virus is transmitted in humans by this Sulex mosquito. Now understand this particular thing guys, that humans are not the natural host of this particular virus. Understand this particular thing. There are many different type of viruses that are prevalent in many species of animal. For example, bats, they are reservoir of many type of viruses. These viruses don't impact the bats, for example, but when they are transmitted to human, they will impact human. Why? Because human is not a natural host, they are accidental host. Okay, they are the accidental host. Now, basically what happens, this Sulex mosquito, it carries this particular virus from, they carry this particular virus from bird species, infected bird species. So what will happen? This Sulex mosquito will bite the infected birds who are infected with this West Nile virus, and it will carry it, and then it will be transmitted to the humans. It will be transmitted to the humans. As of now, human to human transmissions are not there. For example, in case of Zika virus, we see that human to human transmission is possible through bodily fluids, blood, semen, etc. One human can transmit it to the other human. But in the case of this West Nile fever virus, human to human transmission is not there as of now, as observed by WHO. Now, this particular virus majorly impacts the neural system. As of now, there is no treatment available for this type of this disease. Also, there is no vaccine available. So treatment that are there right now, they are supportive. They are supportive treatments, means that they will try to improve, basically they'll try to mitigate your symptoms. Your body is the one who ultimately will fight with this particular virus. Medicine, vaccine, treatment is not there. As a part of supportive hospitalization, intravenous fluids will be administered, respiratory support will be given. Okay, and in hospital it will be ensured that the secondary infections can be prevented. Now, what are the symptoms of this virus? Fever, headache, stiffness in neck, disorientation, coma, tremors, convulsions, weakness. These are the symptoms. Now, these particular symptoms are similar to Japanese encephalitis. Japanese encephalitis. Okay. Now, against Japanese encephalitis, 80% of the patients 80% of the patients impacted by the West Nile virus will not show symptoms. They will be asymptomatic. Okay, so this is about the West Nile fever virus and all the related aspects on which question can be framed in the mains examination or prelims examination. Beyond that, you are not really required to go. Vaccine is not available. Okay, this is all about it. And now moving to next article. Moving to next article. Advertisers should submit self-declaration before promoting products, Supreme Court. Now, this particular article, guys, we are going to discuss with respect to GS paper number 2, consumer rights, as well as with respect to GS paper number 4, ethics of advertising. Will take this particular article, ethics of advertising. So recently what happened, there is case going on in Supreme Court with respect to Patanjali Ayurved. That Patanjali Ayurved, they had ran misleading advertising, particularly pertaining to Coronil, which was one of a treatment regimen, or which was a kind of a drug that was promoted by Patanjali Ayurved, that it will fight with the corona, will fight with the COVID. Now, against this particular matter in Supreme Court, the case is going on that Patanjali has published a lot of misleading ads. They have published a lot of ads which did not had any scientific basis. They were not conducted on the basis of any kind of a clinical studies. Now, this particular pattern has become even more evident that there are many advertisers which make a lot of unsubstantiated claim, misleading claims. For example, there are many healthy drinks that are being promoted on TV, that it will make your kid sharper, healthier, taller, stronger. Now, what is the basis of this particular studies? Okay, there are often not such kind of a basis. So basically, these kind of advertisements are misleading advertisements. Now, what has happened? Supreme Court has provided this particular thing that advertisers, before advertising, they have to issue a self-declaration. In that it should be written that their ad is not misleading, their ad is not trying to promote any superstition, and this particular declaration they have to give in line with cable TV network regulation rules of 1994. Now, this particular declaration is to be uploaded by the advertisers on Information and Broadcasting Ministry's Broadcast Seva portal. Okay, so it is a self-declaration, means that advertisers, out of their personal morality, out of their ethics, they have to issue this particular kind of a directive. As of now, Supreme Court had said that such kind of guidelines should also be brought for print advertisers. Right now, they are for the digital advertisers, but for print advertisers, also such kind of a guidelines should be prepared. Now, also, Supreme Court has made this particular thing clear that the social media influencers, celebrities, public figures, they should act responsibly when they are endorsing any product. Why? Because so many children are watching them, so many people, particularly youth, they are following them. So therefore, before a celebrity endorses a product, they should ensure that this particular product is not addictive in nature. This particular product will not negatively impact the health of people. This particular product will not have any bad or adverse consequences on their well-being and health. But often we find that the celebrities don't have such kind. Often, many of the celebrities, some celebrities have very good ethics, but some of the celebrities don't follow such kind of an ethical prescriptions. Here, just I want to give you a good example of Cristiano Ronaldo, who during a press briefing replace the bottle of a soft drink with water to give a message to people that rather than consuming soft drink, you should consume water. This is a good example that the other celebrities should also follow. So Supreme Court has reminded celebrities that they should act responsibly. Now understand this particular thing, that when we talk about celebrities, who have made them celebrities, it is the people's love, people's belief in them. So therefore they also have a responsibility to reciprocate this particular trust. Fine. So they should behave responsibility and should take care that they are not the part of any deceptive, fake, misleading advertising. Also, it has been provided that there should be a system in which the aggrieved people, consumer, can file a complaint against the misleading advertising. Guys, already there is though CCPA, Central Consumer Protection Authority, where the consumers can approach, but as of now it does not have very stringent provisions. So therefore it is much needed in the present times, given the Patanjali case that has been there. Now you can use this particular entire incident as a case study in your GS paper number 4, ethics of advertising. Particularly there is attitude chapter. In attitude chapter there are two topics, subtopics: persuasion and manipulation. Now all the advertisements that we are seeing, they are a kind of a persuasive appeal that okay, you go and buy this particular product. But sometimes in the name of persuasion, what they do, they manipulate you. They manipulate you by showing misleading ads. Okay, so therefore ethics of that particular corporate, ethics of advertiser who has made this advertising campaign, and ethics of celebrity who is actually executing this advertising campaign plays a very important role. Often laws, they can be bypassed, and that particular thing can be seen in the surrogate advertisements of tobacco and alcoholic products. What happens? Particular alcoholic products, they will not be endorsed directly. They'll be endorsed by the name of music CDs. They'll be endorsed under the name of packaged drinking water or XYZ kind of thing. Such kind of things are to be avoided. Fine. Now, moving on, and let's discuss next article, plastic solution. Now, this particular article, it talks about the global plastic treaty that was signed 2 years back, 2022. Now, basically, what is this global plastics treaty? Let's understand that. So, this global plastic treaty, it is a joint initiative which has been endorsed by 175 United Nations member states. India is also party to this global plastic treaty. Now, this particular plastic treaty want to impose a time frame by which they will agree to eliminate the plastic pollution. Now, understand this thing. Basically, sessions are being held under this global plastic treaty. In these particular sessions, they are trying to come out with a legally binding document that by this particular year, all the countries will eliminate plastic pollution. By this particular year, countries will eliminate the single-use plastics. By this particular year, plastics marine pollution will be eliminated. So a final legal document is to be prepared under this global plastic treaty. And recently what has happened? Fourth round of negotiation got concluded. Okay, so this plastic treaty, it aims at curbing the plastic production, eliminating the usages of plastic, which creates a lot of wastages, and also it wants to set up the enhanced targets for plastic recycling, reuse. This is very much important component of circular economy. Okay, now basically, under this global plastic treaty, there are many irritants that have developed. There are many challenges that have developed. Number one challenge is that many countries have certain vested interest. What type of vested interest? Now you see this particular thing. Plastic. Basically, when we talk about the plastic, okay, so petroleum, oil, okay, so in the production of plastics, in the production of rubber products, fine, oil, basically you see this particular thing that oil is used as a raw material, indirect raw material. So many oil producing countries, they have a vested interest that if the plastic production will go down, then their economies will negatively impacted. So therefore Saudi Arabia, United States, Russia, India, Iran, they are reluctant about the hard deadlines to eliminate the plastic production. Second issue that comes in this particular capacity is that basically countries who are developing, such as India, they say that, okay, you are promoting that we need to eliminate the plastic pollution, we need to eliminate the single usage plastics. But what is alternative of that? Alternatives are not cheap. Alternatives are not easily available. So countries who are developing, such as India, they advocate this particular thing, that we also need to ensure availability, accessibility, affordability of alternatives. And countries such as India, they are promoting a CBDR type of framework. What is CBDR? CBDR stands for common but differentiated responsibility. Now this CBDR is a core pillar under the climate negotiations. What is the common but differentiated responsibility principle means? It means that to avoid the climate change, it is a common responsibility. To conserve environment, it is a common responsibility. But this responsibility is differentiated. Developed countries will do more, developing countries will do less. Historically, these are the developed countries who have polluted environment the maximum. So developed countries need to do more. They need to take binding targets. They need to provide the financial assistance to developing country. For example, $100 billion by 2020 are to be provided by developed country to the developing country. Okay, so CBDR principle has been a core pillar under the climate negotiations. Now India is bringing a CBDR type of a principle in the plastic pollution also. They say that developed countries should give assistance to the developing countries. They should make available, affordable, accessible the alternatives to plastic. That is the only way that we can solve this particular problem. Now, when we talk about India, guys, India actually has a good track record in eliminating the plastic, because in 2022 already we have implemented plastic waste management rules. These rules were notified in 2021 but got implemented in 2022. Under this particular plastic waste management rules, India is banning 19 categories of single use plastics, so such as the single use plastic straws, plastic cutleries. Okay, they are to be 19 categories of single use plastics are being banned, but it does not include plastic bottles. Even the bottles which are containing less than 200 milliliter of liquid, it does not bans multi-layered packaging boxes. Okay, also the present single-use plastic ban, it has not been properly implemented. You find that easily you can find the single-use plastics, okay, on many of the shops. So point is the implementation. Now when we talk about, guys, plastic usage, plastic consumption in the world, you see this particular thing: Brazil, China, India, US. These four countries are responsible for 60% of the plastic waste. So any treaty to eliminate single-use plastic, any treaty to control the plastic pollution need to ensure that these particular four countries are onboarded. As of now, that final round, the fourth round that was recently concluded, is it is unconclusive. We have not come out with any kind of a target, a kind of a deadline by which the plastic pollution will be eliminated. But morally, countries should find this particular solution as early as possible. This is all about it. GS paper number 3, very important topic. Even in GS paper number 4, environmental ethics, a very important topic. So GS 3 and 4, important one. Now, moving on to the next article. How is UK deporting migrants to Rwanda? Again, an important topic with respect to GS paper number 4, ethics. GS paper number 4, ethics. Fine. Refugee ethics. Refugee ethics. Now, before going in this particular article, I would just like to give you one particular reference from ethics which you can use whenever you are talking about the refugee crisis in the context of ethics. By the way, question already has been asked by the UPSC in this particular direction. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that whenever the issue of refugees come, countries use the justification of lifeboat ethics. Countries, what do? They use the justification of lifeboat ethics. What is this? What is this explanation? Understand this thing. Suppose there is a sea, there is a sea. In sea, there is a lifeboat. there is a lifeboat. Now, lifeboat will always have limited supplies. It will have limited supplies, limited water, limited food. Suppose the capacity of this particular lifeboat is to carry 20 people. Already on this particular lifeboat, there are 15 people that are there. Maximum capacity is 20 people. Now, let's say in this particular ocean, there are hundreds, thousands of people who are just floating. There are hundreds and thousands of people who are swimming in this ocean, and they are requesting the people on this particular lifeboat that please allow us to come on this particular lifeboat. Now, the people on this lifeboat, they have three options broadly. Option number one, allow five people. But if you allow five people, margin of safety will go to zero. Why? Because your maximum capacity of your boat is 20 people and you have reached the maximum capacity. Whenever you are operating any machinery on maximum capacity, you always know that there might be a danger that is associated. Option number two, they don't allow anybody. Okay. Option three, allow everyone. If you allow everyone, then what will happen? Definitely this particular boat will sink. Even the 15 people who are safe, they will also be endangered. Okay, they will also be facing the their safety will also be compromised. So these three options they have. Often countries, what they do, they choose the second option. They say this particular thing. The countries, what they say that we are like the lifeboat. Limited resources. Countries say that we have limited resources, and with this resource we can cater to our own people, and we need not to only cater the present population, we need to cater the coming generations also. So therefore we cannot allow all the refugees to come in our country. Why? Because then what will happen? Our people's safety will be compromised. So they don't allow the refugees in their own country. Okay, now the ethicists, they say that this is wrong. On compassionate grounds, you should allow them. Ethicists, they say that actually there is not only one lifeboat, there are hundreds of lifeboats. Hundreds of countries are there. And if every lifeboat, every country will just take two, three people on board, then majority of people who are sinking here, they will get a support. So point is that the refugees, they are fleeing from their home country to another country in expectation of a better life. Now, one country cannot accommodate all the refugees, but every country, they can accommodate few hundreds of refugees, and by that collectively we can solve this particular problem, but countries are not collectively coming forward. So this is the main problem that we have. Now, this is something that we have here. I hope that you have understood it. Now, moving, keep this particular thing in your mind, can be used in the static of your ethics paper number 4. Now, how is the UK deporting migrants to Rwanda? Now, what is this present issue? So basically, guys, recently UK has signed a deal with Rwanda, and as per this particular deal, the refugees who are coming to UK illegally after crossing the English Channel, these particular refugees, UK will deport to the Rwanda. Okay, and what has happened? Actually, UK recently has deported an asylum seeker to Rwanda, and many other they will send to Rwanda. Now, this particular scheme, this particular mechanism is called as voluntary return scheme. Now, this particular scheme was passed in 2010 2022, where UK will send the illegal migrants to Rwanda. Now, this particular scheme actually earlier was declared as invalid. It was declared as unlawful by UK's Supreme Court. But then what happened? Again, they passed a new law. And now under this new law that they have passed, that is the voluntary return scheme, they will deport illegal migrants from UK to Rwanda. And this is not the first time that such kind of a thing is being done. Earlier also, similar schemes have been passed in different countries of Europe as well as also in UK. Now, there are some, now let's understand this particular scheme little bit more. So under this particular scheme, British government will provide financial assistance to migrants as well as failed asylum seekers. Who are the asylum seeker? So asylum seeker is a person who requests another country that please allow me to come to your country. Asylum seeker, why they seek asylum from the other country? Because they fear persecution in their own home country because of their religion, because of their nationality, because of their social because of their social political affiliations. So they go to other country and they ask that please allow us to come in your country. Now whose asylum request is not approved? Failed asylum seekers, they can be deported to safe third country. So British government will provide them one time assistance also to these people who are being sent. Okay, now these person, they are eligible to apply if they have been in UK illegally. Who can apply or who can be deported? Any person can be deported who is living in UK illegally, who have overstayed their visa expired but have overstayed. Fine. Who have been uh, who are living there illegally. Okay, they can be sent to the third country. And which is that third country? That third country is Rwanda. Now question comes that is Rwanda safe for refugees? Now when we talk about Rwanda, Rwanda happens to be one of the most densely populated country in the world with 13 million people. Also, we find this particular thing that the Rwanda happens to be one of the least developed nation in the world. So point is that does Rwanda has economic means? Does Rwanda has enough of resources that it can meet the basic needs of the people who will be deported there? Food, shelter, clothing, can they give? Also, track record of Rwanda has been disputed in the past. There are many of the human right groups, fine, which says this particular thing that the Rwanda has Rwanda has committed violence, atrocities on the people on the basis of ethnic grounds. And in this capacity, we have Human Rights Watch group. It has documented that Rwandan refugees, asylum seekers in the past, they have forcibly disappeared, okay, or they have been killed. Also, it has been provided that the government in Rwanda, what they do, they stifle dissent. They keep tight controls on media, opposition, as well as there is also serious allegation that they support rebel groups in DRC. Okay, so one of a rebel group, M23, fine, which creates a lot of nuisance in DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, which is their neighbor. That group, rebel group, is supported by Rwanda. Also, it has been provided that 90% of refugees in Rwanda, they are just living in 5 camps. They are just living in 5 camps, fine, and in very poor condition, in poverty-stricken condition, these people are living. And even United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, has talked about the bad condition of refugees there. So in this circumstance, sending refugees to Rwanda it raises up many of the eyebrows. It raises up many of the eyebrows. Now, why Rwanda is interested in this particular deal? So UK has promised Rwanda that Rwanda will be getting Rwanda will get the developmental assistance. Rwanda says that we are not doing it just for the sake of money. But UK is obviously promising them the developmental aid. So point that comes here is that humans are just being treated as a liability, which one rich country is shifting to the another country just because they have money. Okay. Now, this is guys all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood this particular thing. So Britain has already paid 220 million pounds to Rwanda, and 600 million pounds will be paid. Now, blanket ban keeps out over 4 lakh under trials from exercising their franchisee their right to vote. Now, this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2, issues related to polity, fine, right to vote. Now, before going in this article, let me tell you some basic background information. Basically, guys, this article is talking about a strange provision in the Indian legal jurisprudence. Now, just two examples, guys, I want to give you here. You see this particular thing that Amritpal Singh, Amritpal Singh, who belongs to Waris Punjab De, so chief of Waris Punjab De, Amritpal Singh, and another person, Abdul Rashid Sheikh, also called as Engineer Rashid. Now, these people, now Abdul Rashid Sheikh, he belongs to Awami Ittihad Party. Both of them, Amritpal Singh and Abdul Rashid Sheikh, they are right now confined in jail. They are right now confined in jail, confined in Dibrugarh jail and Tihad jail. And from the jail, they are contesting elections. From the jail, they are contesting elections. One thing. So a person from the jail is contesting election, and under the present laws, under the Representation of People Act 1951, if you are serving a jail term of less than 2 years, you can contest elections. Okay, one thing. Under RPA, you can contest the elections if your jail term is less than 2 years. But at the same time, election election regulations in India, election commission does not allows people who are detained or who are under trial or who are in the jail from voting. So what is the issue? Issue is that if you are in jail, you can contest election if you are serving a jail of less than 2 years. But if you are in jail, doesn't matter whether your crime has been proved or not, you cannot vote. You cannot vote. And if guys we see, there are approximately, now first of all let me give you some data. Right now around 5,73,220 people are lodged in the different jails in India. Who says? National Crime Record Bureau data 2022 provides that right now 5,73,220 people are in jail. These people cannot vote. Okay, but out of this 4,34,000 means approximately 76% people. 76% people are under trial. Who are under trial? Any person who is right now in jail but their crime has not been proved, that are the under trial. Now, in the Indian jurisprudence, we follow the golden rule of innocent until proved guilty. Until you are proved guilty, you are innocent. We will deem you as innocent. So 76% people, though they are in jail, but they are innocent until proved guilty. Even these people are not being provided the right to vote. Those people are not being provided the right to vote. So section 62 subclause 5 of RPA here, it says that no person can vote in any election if confined in prison, whether as a convicted or as an under trial. So this section 62 subclause 5, so this section 62 subclause 5 is the rule which debars, which restricts the convicted people or even the under trials from voting. Okay. Now, many of the activists, many of legal experts, what they say this particular thing, that they say that if certain category of prisoner can contest elections, why the people in jail are not being given right to vote? At least under trials, at least 76% of under trials, they should be given right to vote. If you don't give right to vote to these under trials, 4 lakh people, 4,34,000 people cannot vote in the elections. And right now, the 18th Lok Sabha elections are already under way. So this is something that is there. Now, Election Commission says this particular, the legal experts and activists say this particular thing, that Election Commission, for administrative reasons, have not allowed them the right to vote. Now, it has been said that Election Commission already is allowing a postal ballot to certain special category of voters. Okay, when postal ballot can be given to them, why postal ballot facility cannot be given to prisoners? Why a kind of a polling booth cannot be established in the jail, from where at least under trials can give vote? So this is the issue that has come here. Now, this particular issue is also going against the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948. India has already signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948, and also India has ratified it. Now, it provides universal voting right irrespective of the status of incarceration. Means even if you are jailed, you have to be provided right to vote. Because see, even if you are in a jail, you are still the citizen of a country. Still you are citizen of a country. So therefore, UN Declaration of Human Rights provides the right to vote, but it is getting violated here. So this is guys all about this particular article, this particular issue. I hope that you have understood it. And now we'll move to next article. A chance to settle a constitutional clash. A chance to settle a constitutional clash. This article will see with respect to GS paper number 2, issues related to fundamental right versus DPSP, directive principle of state policy. Okay. Now, this is one very important article that has come. And guys, even related to this, we have seen one article earlier also. What the article we have discussed? We have discussed that the Supreme Court is right now hearing a case with respect to the scope of Article 39B and Article 39C, that is DPSP. Okay. Now, before going in this particular article, first of all, let's read what is Article 39B and 39C. First of all, Article 39B and 39C, they belong to Part 4 of Indian Constitution. Part 4 of Indian Constitution. Part 4 is titled Directive Principle of State Policy, DPSP. Now, what are these DPSPs? These are directives that, or these are the prescriptions that are given to the state, that state should implement these particular things whenever it is possible for the state to do. Basically, guys, when the Constituent Assembly debates were going on, basically the rights which are essential for the people, entitlements that are essential to the people, they were divided in two parts. Fundamental rights, which are immediately enforceable. DPSPs, which are the ambitious things that is to be done. But at the time of independence, 1947, at the time when Constitution got enacted in 1950, government, state did not had much capacity to implement them. So therefore, DPSPs were separate, means these are the ambitious things that are to be done by the state, but whenever the state has capacity, fundamental rights were immediately implemented. Now, in DPSP, there is this Article 39B and 39C. First of all, let's read Article 39B and C, and then we'll go in this particular article. Okay. So, Article 39B. Fine. So, what is this? Article 39, certain principles of policy to be followed by the state. Article 39 of the Constitution. Article 39B. State shall direct its policy towards securing that the ownership and control of material resources of the community are so distributed as best to subserve the common good. Article 39C. Operation of economic system does not result in concentration of wealth and means of production to the common detriment. What does it mean in simple English? In simple English, it means that the state needs to make efforts to ensure that material resources of a society should be distributed to all the people. Means inequality in wealth, inequality of resources should be avoided. It should not happen that few people are holding the maximum material resources of the country. Material resources of the country belongs to society and they should be distributed to all the members of society. So, and the second is that we should not we should ensure that we don't have an economic system which promotes the concentration of wealth. So basically, these two provisions, Article 39B and 39C, aims to reduce inequality. It aims to reduce the concentration of wealth. It aims to build a system of economic equality, a type of a system similar to economic equality. This is the crux of Article 39B and Article 39C. Now, right now, what is happening? Right now, what is happening? So basically, there is this particular case going on in Supreme Court by the name of Property Owners Association versus State of Maharashtra. Keep the judgment's name, remember the name of the case because it is a very important case. So, Property Owners Association versus State of Maharashtra case. In this particular case, 9-judge bench of Supreme Court, they are trying to finalize two issues. They are trying to conclude, they are trying to give judgment on two issues. Issue number one, what does the term material resource of the community mean? What you can include in the material resource? Okay, does my house comes in the definition of material resource? If it comes in the definition of material resource, means that the state can take my house and can distribute it among the people. So what is the meaning of this particular word material resource? What will come in this and what will not come? Will private property be coming in this definition of material resource or not? If it comes in the definition of material resource, means that it can be distributed among the people. Second, laws made in furtherance of the goal, Article 39B, fine, which aims at securing ownership of resource, fine, are they immunized? Are they immunized from challenge premised on fundamental rights to equality and freedom? What does it mean? It means that if any law will be passed to implement Article 39B, can they be immunized from being challenged on the premise of fundamental right? Okay, right to freedom, for example. Okay, can I challenge this particular thing or not? Is it beyond the judicial review or not? These questions are being heard in Supreme Court right now. Now, this particular article gives little bit of a history. This article gives little bit of a history of fundamental right and DPSP. Now, article says this particular thing that see, tensions between fundamental right and DPSP has been there since the start of the constitution as what is supreme. This particular tension has been there. Now, at the start, constitution was very clear. At the start, constitution was very clear. Article 13 very clearly provided that any law made in breach of fundamental right would be void, would be invalid. Means any law which is going against fundamental right, that law is invalid. And it provided in Article 37 that DPSPs will not be enforceable, but they are fundamental to the governance of a country. Article 37 provided that DPSPs are important for the fundamental governance of the country, but they are not enforceable in the court of law. The things were very much clear. But what happened? Many amendments have come in between, and these amendments have complicated the relation between fundamental rights and DPSP. And the most important in this particular direction is the 25th Constitutional Amendment Act. Now, 25th Constitutional Amendment Act, fine, it imposed basically what it provided. Constitutional Amendment Act 2025, what it did, it introduced Article 31C. And under Article 31C, it was provided that for the implementation of Article 39B and 39C, for the implementation of Article 39B and 39C, state can make a law, and even if that particular law comes in violation of Article 14 or Article 19, that will not be declared as invalid. Means what happens in very simple words? Simple words, Article 39B and 39C were given a kind of a supremacy over Article 14 or Article 19. It means that we will make a law to implement Article 39B and 39C. You cannot go to the court saying that this law is breaching or this particular law is going against my Article 14 and Article 19. You cannot go in the court. This is something that happened here. Now, what will be the implication? What will be the consequence of this particular thing? So, there is one kind of an example that has been given. Now, tomorrow, Parliament can come and can say that printing press is a material resource of the community. They can say. And they say that because printing press is the material resource of the country, we are nationalizing the media. We are nationalizing the media. Now, you see, this will be a deadly thing that will happen in a democracy. If you nationalize the entire media, then media cannot project dissent. Okay, this will be a problem. So, therefore, it has been said that this can lead to a lot of problems. Now, in Keshwananda Bharti case, 1973, it was declared that you cannot say that even judicial review cannot be asked. Judicial review can be asked, but okay, Article 31C should also stay. This is something that happened. Now, there was one more development that happened in 1976. In 1976, what happened? 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act was passed, and the scope of Article 39B and 39C was further enhanced. It was, the scope of DPSP was further enhanced. It was said by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act that law made in furtherance of any DPSP fine would enjoy safe harbor. Earlier, you gave protection only to those laws which have been framed under Article 39B and 39C against Article 14 and 19. Now what they did? They did that any law to fulfill any DPSP will not be questioned if it is violating Article 14 and 19. So what was limited to Article 39B and 39C, now it has been extended to all the DPSPs. Now this particular thing was declared as invalid, unconstitutional in Minerva Mills case 1980. Minerva Mills case 1980. But actually entire Article 31C was not declared as invalid. Article 31C entirely was not declared as invalid. Then there is one more judgment that has come, that is Vaman Rao versus Union of India case. Vaman Rao versus Union of India case. It was provided again here that unamended Article 31C was valid, means that you can make a law to fulfill Article 39B and 39C, and even if it is breaching Article 14 and 19, we will not declare that law as invalid. This is something that has happened. Now, in the property owners case that we are discussing right now, that the Supreme Court is right now hearing, what Supreme Court is going to hear here precisely. So Supreme Court will decide the validity of a particular law which allows a state, which allows the state government to acquire complete control over dilapidated buildings if done with the consent of 70% of the residents. Okay, so buildings who are not in good shape, buildings who are dilapidated, fine, buildings who are not structurally sound, such buildings can be taken over by the state government. Fine, this law is there, and the state government says that we are doing it as a part of Article 39B and 39C. So therefore, court is hearing this particular issue now. As of now, guys, no judgment has come in this particular capacity. But this particular article provides that for a very long period of time, a lot of ambiguity has been there between DPSP and fundamental rights scope. Now the Supreme Court should use this particular opportunity to give a very crystal clear explanation of the domain of DPSP versus fundamental rights. So this is something that has been provided in this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to next article, the delay in Nagaland civic body polls. Now this particular article will see with respect to GS paper number 1 as well as GS paper number 2, women related issues plus representation of women in grassroots politics. In grassroots politics, participation of women in local bodies. Participation of women in local bodies. Now, guys, if you have read newspaper, you might be knowing about a recent development where Nagaland's state election commissioner has notified the elections for Nagaland's urban local bodies. Okay. Now, a thing will come in your mind that what is so special in the elections, that too the elections of urban local bodies of Nagaland. What is so special? Fine. Special thing is this, that guys understand this particular thing. Up till now, Nagaland has been the only state where 33% of the seats that are to be reserved for the women in urban local body was not implemented. Now you see this particular thing. 74th Constitutional Amendment Act that was passed way back in 1992 provided that in urban local bodies 33% seats should be reserved for the women. Okay. Even for the panchayat also 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act provided the same. Means 33% of the seats even in the panchayat are to be reserved for the women. Okay. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that so 74th Constitutional Amendment Act provided 33% seats in ULBs is to be reserved for the women. But this proposal has not been liked by the Naga Ho-Hos. What is Naga Ho-Hos? It is a traditional apex body of tribals. It is the highest decision-making body of tribals. They say this particular thing, that 74th Constitutional Amendment Act is going against Article 371A of the Constitution. Okay. Now, when we talk about the Article 371A, what Article 371A provides? Article 371A recognizes the customary rights of the Nagaland people. It recognizes the social practices of the people following the Naga culture in the Nagaland. So their special rights, their social practices have been given a special importance. Now, it has been provided by the Nagaland that they don't approve of these particular reservations for the women in their culture. Fine. As a part of their cultural practice, they don't approve this 33% reservation. Now guys, only elections that have happened in Nagaland was in 2004. Up till now, only ULB elections that happened in Nagaland was in 2004 without any reservation of seats for women. So up till now, not even a single election has happened in Nagaland with 33% reserved seats for women. Not even a single election has been held. Now understand this thing, that in 2006, government tried to conduct elections in the Nagaland for ULB with 33% reservation. So what happened in 2006? State government amended the 2001 Municipal Act and provided for 33% reservation and tried to conduct the election. But what happened? It led to a lot of opposition. It led to a lot of opposition, and government infinitely postponed the elections. Infinitely postponed the elections. And those elections, effective elections up till now, has not happened, has not now happened. Also, in the meanwhile, what happened? The Assembly of Nagaland, they also said that Nagaland, they also passed a resolution saying Nagaland is exempt from Article 243T. What is the Article 243T? Article 243 actually provides a 33% reservation for women in ULB. So they say that we are exempt from that. So what happens in a nutshell? You need not to remember these many years. Only thing that you need to remember is that people, the tribal bodies in Nagaland, they have resisted 74th Constitutional Amendment Act and Article 243T. They say that basically as a part of our socio-cultural practice, we don't want to reserve the 33% seats for women. And up till now, no elections have happened with the women reservation. Now, what happened recently? Recently, Nagaland Municipal Bill has been passed. Recently, Nagaland Municipal Bill has been passed, which has retained 33% quota for women in urban local bodies, but reservation of women at the chairperson's post will not be there. Means chairperson's post will not be reserved for the women. Apart from the chairperson's post, 33% reservation to the women will be given as per the Nagaland Municipal Act of 2023. So this is a kind of an agreement that has been made. Now majority of tribal bodies have agreed to it, but still Eastern Nagaland People's Organization, they have not approved it. They say that we will not participate in the ULB polls. So basically, guys, it can be used as a case study. It can be used as an example that right now we are talking about the reservation for the women at the level of Parliament, State Legislative Assembly, and in this capacity, we have seen this particular thing also that recently what happened, women reservation bill was passed, but even in till now, more than 20 years have passed, 33% of the seats for women in ULB have not been allowed. Now, moving on to the next article. The era of politics of performance. The era of politics of performance. Now, this article, guys, we'll be seeing again with respect to GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2. Political reforms. Okay. Now, guys, you see this particular thing, that to make any democracy functional, role of legislators will be very important. If legislators can effectively participate in policy making and policy formulation, then that particular country's governance will be improved. Now, guys, as we talk about India, there are 795 MPs that we have, which combines both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. We have 4,123 MLAs and 31.8 lakh representatives in the local bodies. And if they are educated, if they understand the nuances of public policy, if they have good competency, they can drastically enhance the governance in India. Now they say this particular thing, that what makes any elected representative as a competent? What makes any elected representative as a competent, efficient? We just always look about their education. We often just look on their educational credentials, that how many of our MPs, MLAs are graduates, how many of them are at least 12th pass. But only educational degree will not ensure that they are competent. Though this cannot be doubted, though this is sure that educational qualification will provide certain critical skills, will provide certain effective governance skills, but we need something more. We need something beyond the educational degrees. What we need? We need behavioral skills. We need functional skills. We need domain-based competencies in our legislators, because only if they have certain behavioral skills, certain domain-specific abilities, they will be able to implement as well as they will be able to formulate the good public policies. Now, first of all, what is the importance of behavioral skill? Now, behavioral skill is an important political competency. It is an important political competency. What is behavioral skill? Basically, with the behavioral skill competency, politicians can effectively engage with the people, can effectively persuade people to change certain bad habits, bad values. For example, guys, you see this thing, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan became successful only because the politicians, leaders, they were able to engage the people. They were able to change the attitudes of people with respect to the open defecation, and they were able to nudge, sensitize people with respect to usage of toilets. Okay, if they did not had behavioral competency, if they did not had competency to bring a everlasting change in the behavior of the people, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan would not have been possible. So politicians should have good communication skills. Politicians should have good command over the language so that they can change the negative behaviors, negative values of the people. This is something. Second is functional competency. Now politicians should have functional competency. They should understand the basics of policy making. They should understand the basics of budgeting. They should understand the basics as how the work in parliament, legislative assemblies, panchayats happen. So functional competency, that is the ability to understand political processes, able to understand the working of parliament, able to understand the working of legislative assembly, able to understand that how question hour is to be used, how budgeting happens. Fine, they should be able to understand that. Only then they can ask relevant questions, they can participate in discussions, they can raise important policy matter. Now here there is one example that in 2022, one of an MP raised a matter in 0 hour in parliament about the unregulated advertising and promotion of tobacco on OTT platforms. Because of this particular question that was asked, what happened? What happened? Ministry of Health provided that there should be the anti-tobacco warnings on the OTT platforms if some actor is consuming some tobacco product. Also, guys, we see this particular thing that a private member's bill was introduced asking for the transgender persons, right? And on the basis of this, Transgender Persons Act 2019 was passed. Now, these are two important things. How it happened? It happened because earlier the legislators, MPs in their individual capacity raised these matters. Then government took action on that. So this is their functional competency. Then next is domain-based competency. Domain-based competency. Now you see this particular thing that MPs, for example, legislators, they will head certain portfolios. Somebody will become finance minister, somebody will become minister for health, somebody will hold some other kind of a portfolio. The point is that as MPs, they will hold portfolios. They need to have domain-based competencies. They should understand the nitty-gritties of health. They should understand nitty-gritties of finance. They should understand nitty-gritties of roadways, transportation, all these particular things. And then finally, legislators should have technological awareness also. They should be able to understand the nuances of artificial intelligence, IT technology, cyber technologies. Because nowadays, guys, you see this particular thing that there are new technologies that are emerging. And if you need to formulate policies, you need to formulate laws to regulate the things such as the AI, you need to understand the technology also. So these are all competencies that are needed, and these competencies will make a legislator as an effective and a responsive legislator. A very, very good example, a very, very good article for your entire GS paper number 2. Now moving on, here there is a solution also that has been provided. Now guys, you see this particular thing that government just 2 years back has come out with the Mission Karma Yogi. Mission Karma Yogi. Under Mission Karma Yogi, we want to enhance the capabilities of civil servants, bureaucrats. So article says that basically Karma Yogi competency model from the Mission Karma Yogi should be replicated for even the legislators. To enhance competencies of legislators, to enhance competencies of MPs, MLAs, panchayat leaders, we need to come out with a specific course for them. We should come out with a specific course from them. And for there, it has been provided that we should take the help of central and state training institutions. For example, there is Parliamentary Research and Training Institute for Democracy. There are the National and State Institutes of Rural Development and Panchayati Raj. There is Integrated Government Online Training Platform. Okay, there are many of the NGOs such as the PRS Legislative Research, okay, Rambhu Mahalgi Prabodhini. So from NGOs, from the institutions who have prepared the courses in competencies, we should take help and we should come out with a comprehensive course for the legislators also, so that their competencies, functional competencies, technological competency, behavioral competency can be increased, can be enhanced. Now you guys see this particular thing. Even if you'll selected as an IAS officer, you'll be going for a foundational course in Labasana. Let's say you selected as an IAS officer, you'll go for a foundational course where you'll understand the nitty-gritties of administration, where you will receive a training with respect to the basics of the administration, law and order. But do ministers undergo such kind of a orientation? Do ministers and even the legislators, they do undergo some kind of a course or module? No. Fine. So we need to ensure such kind of things. Moving on to the next article. India is now third largest producer of solar power. So this article we will use as a case study. This article will use as an example in our GS paper number 3, renewable energies. So basically what has happened, Amber has released a report. So Amber is an international energy analytics organization. It has released a report and it had said that in the year 2023, past year, India overtook Japan to become the world's third highest producer of solar power. So India produced 113 billion units of solar power in 2023. Japan produced 110 billion units of solar power in 2023. So India has now become in 2023, India became the top producer of solar power. Number 1 is China, number 2 is US, number 3 is India in 2023. Now guys, when we talk about the installed power capacity in India, it is 73 gigawatt. And today India ranks 5th in the world in terms of the installed energy capacity. Japan ranks 3rd in the terms of installed energy capacity. They have 83 gigawatt of installed energy capacity. India has 73 gigawatt. Okay, now when we talk about guys solar power, there is one more data from Niti Aayog that we are going to use here, and a very important data. Please use in your mains answer of GS paper number 3. According to Niti Aayog data, solar power makes 18% of India's total installed electricity. So India's 18%, total installed capacity of India, 18% is by solar. 18% is by solar, but we are not utilizing the full capacity of solar. Just 6.66% of power is produced from the solar. Means installed capacity of solar is 18%, but actual electricity from solar which is being made, it is just 6.66%. Means we are not fully utilizing the solar capacity of India. Now we have come to the rank 3. Will be able to surpass US, who is rank 2? Now see this particular thing. No. Why? In immediate term, no. In 1 or 2 year, no. Maybe in the long run, we can. Why? Because when we talk about the US, it is right now producing more than 220 billion units. Fine. So India has to double if India has to surpass US. And when we talk about the China is right now producing 584 billion units. So India has to increase 5 times its solar capacity if it wants to beat China. Now guys, when we talk about the global numbers, renewable sources make 30% of global electricity produced, which is good, which is increased from 19% in 2000, which is good. Okay, so this is guys all about it. Very good data. Please note down this particular data in your GS paper number 3. So that is all guys about it. And with this, we come to an end to this particular session. I hope that you have liked it, and I hope that you have enjoyed this particular session. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves and please do support the initiative. Thank you so much.